Okay, so you should see slides from Dasharo Community Status. So what's our agenda for today? In this slot, we will start with the Dasharo team events roadmap, and not only Dasharo team, but maybe more like whole 3MDEP event roadmap. Then we will talk about Dasharo issues, repo statistics, then core boot repo statistics, documentation updates, maybe some highlights from the documentation, EDK2 fork, like downstream stats, some GitHub star statistics, matrix activity statistics, little bit about bug bounty, and a little bit about the Dasharo infrastructure changes. So what happened regarding events? Of course, we co-hosted and co-organized 7th KubesOS Summit in September. It was a great event. It was really great to see all people interested in integrating KubesOS. And of course, KubesOS certification depends on Dasharo, and that's where we have this partnership, and that's why we really care about this event and why we were engaged so far into co-organizing it. Then we had Zarhus Developers Meetup. So this is 3MDEP's embedded Linux kind of theme or set of products where we're trying to create operating system or maintain operating system which is capable of provisioning, controlling, maintaining, and essentially supporting us in doing everything around root of trust and chain of trust technology. Of course, we're touching other operating systems than Linux. We're touching Android, we're touching, I don't know, OpenWRT, OpenSense, FreeBSD, various other operating systems. But the main theme is always around the same, help maintain root of trust and chain of trust. There was plan for hardware I/O, but unfortunately the tickets didn't sold, and that was it. And I essentially canceled that. So we will see if we will continue. Right now, there doesn't seem to be interest in UEFI and UEFI Secure Boot and Intel BootGuard trainings. But who knows? Maybe things will change in future. I guess we will kind of do us one step back and rather get back to ST2 and free and open materials contribution, and to the point where there will be market interest in this kind of topics. Right now in Tokyo, there is Maciej Pijanowski, where Maciej Pijanowski kind of represents 3MDEP on the micro conference which 3MDEP co-organized with Daniel Kieper, Grab maintainer and also Oracle employee. We did micro conference for many years. It is called System Boot and Security Micro Conference. So on Saturday, 10:25 a.m. Tokyo time or 6:25 Central Europe time, Maciej will talk about FWPD, LVFS, HSI. But of course, this would be second slot of the micro conference, which got, I don't know, 8 talks or something like that. It's like 4 hours or maybe a little bit more of the materials. Yeah, so thanks to Maciej that he representing us there. I could stick to the dates of the DAC and VPAP this year. So I'm very happy, and that's the last conference that we have. And yeah, that's how we end the 2025. Regarding plans for 26. Okay, maybe a little bit also, like if you want to know a little bit more about KubesOS Summit, then there is a kind of extensive blog post. Feel free to just go to blog3mdep.com and you will find KubesOS Summit 2025 Berlin kind of report blog post, my notes from talks which were presented during the KubesOS Summit. Some were not recorded, so my notes are probably one of the not many public records of what happened during those talks. Okay, yeah, so here you have a live link if you want to listen Maciej presentation about the future of platform security measurement. And essentially, Maciej will focus here on trying to resolve problems about Intel BootGuard status and how it is possible that we getting lower security status when we disable ME versus when we enable ME. I'm saying regarding the all these red, green check marks that LVFS HSI return, which are then exposed in various ways in various UIs. For example, GNOME exposed that in the panel, saying, okay, what kind of level of security we have. I guess CubeOS to some extent also use that, and probably many other distributions will adapt HSI as a way of saying how secure is the device. And that's our contribution to it, and we hope that we will move forward this HSI development because we feel that it is very important to highlight correctly security properties of the platform. Okay, so we organize or co-organize or being guest in 11 events. This is 2 more than in 2024, so last year, but way below our most active year, which was 2021, where we attended 17 events. That was a lot. That was very active. So I don't think we will get back to that level. So for 2026, we plan rather calm, and we don't plan to be active in too many events. But let's go to the roadmap. So in first half of the year, unfortunately, we didn't get the dev room on FOSDEM 26. So I guess like FOSDEM dev rooms group that selects the dev rooms decided that they have to change something. They have to improve. They wanted to eliminate dev rooms which have potential overlap. To some extent, I don't see where the open source firmware fits right now. Maybe to embedded, maybe to confidential computing. That's a separate topic. I guess there were some discussions in the public what happened. But if someone kind of consider what changed in the list of the dev rooms for FOSDEM, one will realize that there is a lot of topics kind of seem to enforced by European Union. There's a lot of policy. There is one dev room which appeared regarding the encrypted messaging. So, the policy about backdoors in the cryptographic algorithms or backdoors in the private chats, and so on and so on. We can have this talk during the VPAP because that's definitely something interesting for our community, where privacy and security is very important thing. But luckily, confidential computing dev room accepted our talk about AMD and OpenSteel development. So we will have something about high assurance infrastructure, confidential computing, confidential infrastructure, especially with kind of from the first instruction verification of the code. And this is probably something that I will present. So very likely we can meet each other on FOSDEM in Brussels in February. Okay, then in March we're planning DAC, but there is a change because this is the DAC number 13, and number 14 will be in December. So there will be no DAC in Q2 and Q3. And similar situation will happen with Zarhus Developers Meetup. So you can see that we're not doing Zarhus Developer Meetup in March. We're doing in May. So it's like more than 6 months of break, and then next one will be in October. So that's something that we should, even in November. Sorry. So you can see that there will be 6 months between Zarhus Developers Meetup 4 and Zarhus Developer Meetup 5, and then of course there will be just 2 Dasharo user group and Dasharo developers VPAPs in 2026. We're sorry for that, but there is one thing that we want to introduce, which kind of will still be valuable and will give back something for taking those 2 events. So that event is Boot Security Mastery Conference, which we want to co-organize. This is right now kind of concept. So our focus is the boot chain. And this boot chain we want to kind of analyze from the perspective of owner-controlled root of trust and chain of trust technologies. Of course, ideally with decentralized reproducible builds with bootstrapable toolchain, a la GUIX or StageX. So those technologies are very close to our heart. Of course, we would like to look at the key boot chain components of every major instruction set architecture, so x86, ARM, RISC-V, Power. So those would be very welcome in this conference. And of course, like if there are some bootloaders like systemd or grub, even OS maintained and installed bootloaders, we would like to also kind of end our chain with those components. And beyond that, of course, maybe some applications are important, but the conference kind of want to concentrate on the area from the reset vector to the handoff to operating system. Of course, this cannot be established without diverse spectrum of contributors, and that's why we would like to invite everyone who can sponsor, who wants to sponsor, everyone who would like to speak at the event, and of course everyone who want to attend and contribute at any level, community level, small, medium enterprise level, OEM, ODM, IBVs, researchers, hyperscalers, or even public sector. Yes, so that's something that we want to do, and to do this correctly, we want to do a survey. So we created this website with the CryptPad link to the survey of this conference. So if you want to influence how this conference will look like, there is very little questions. There are some ways of making it providing your own input, but essentially that's it. So the goal is to provide something for home labbers, for privacy focused admins, up to the maintainers of the high assurance infrastructure in hyperscale environment. Before the conference, we're thinking about hosting dedicated pre-conference training days, which will be focused purely on education for practitioners, and hope that this will be our offering from PACE Enterprise Training. So the commercial trainings that 3MDEP provide would be possible. This would be place where kind of this would be possible for anyone to join, because typically right now when we provide training, we kind of expect a group of 12 people at least. Otherwise, it is financially not really feasible. But then we see that there are individuals who want to attend those trainings, so they will be able to join the training, which will be before the conference. And someone can say, okay, how this is different than open source firmware conference? So I think that open source firmware conference focus broadly on the open source firmware, on the projects, on the ecosystem, on the kind of guidelining, and kind of because of the Open Source Firmware Foundation, under which Open Source Firmware Conference will exist. This is more about policy, about creating a good ecosystem for the open source firmware projects. This conference is completely different from the perspective that we want to use open components, but the goal is to create a value in a way that we're building some infrastructure, and we're building infrastructure in the area where open source firmware is most valuable. So boot chain security, trustworthiness, digital sovereignty, owner controlled root of trust, and chain of trust. Those are the topics, and that's the difference between the open source firmware conference and the boot security mastery conference. Plus, we also plan to have these commercial trainings, which are also a little bit different, because at least so far on OSFC there was no commercial training offering, and this would be different for BSMC. Okay, regarding the other events or events that coming, you always can go to eventstream.com to check what's going on. DAG 11 and VPAP OX10 were published on YouTube. You can watch the videos, or recommend to everyone who would like to watch those. Zarhus Developers Meetups, also slides published, also playlist published on YouTube. I still didn't deliver the Arch 4221 UEFI Secure Boot and TC3211 Intel Boot Guard. Still, the call for beta testers and call for someone who would like to get early access is open. So if you want, feel free to reach out to me. yeah, and I hope that I will have enough time during the Christmas to maybe push that topic forward. But yeah, the hope is always the same. Regarding the Dasharo issues, we have definitely like slowed down, but there is explanation for that on further slides. So bear with me. Yeah, so we were very much focused on releasing up to the point in Q3. Then we kind of switched gears and did a lot of upstreaming stuff. And right now we also preparing some releases, some commercial releases, so we can push those before the Christmas. And those are main reasons for a slowdown of closing the issues. Also, I feel that this does not reflect correct state right now, because when I check the roadmap and check the status of various milestones, despite some releases were delivered, the milestones and the issues were not closed. So I believe we didn't fully accounted in Dasharo issues all possible fixes that we already shipped. Regarding the comments, I guess in comparison to previous quarter, we were less active in comments, but we still have nothing to complain. Yeah, good. GitHub is full of communication. I guess like last period there was like 800 comments. We have right now almost 550. It's not bad. So yeah, hopefully with new platforms we could get interest from other parties, from new members, and then we can get back on track with some more healthy growth. What's changed in top contributors? We have new guys, a new person who was active already in Dasharo community, per Astra ad Deum. By the way, nice nick. So he essentially overthrown Firminator and land at the last position of the top contributors. There are some perks for top contributors, so if you want to use that, feel free. I will let about that know on the further slides. Regarding core boot PRs, also nothing special, I would say. A little bit better than previous quarter, but on average quite low. Yeah, but that's steady development piece. We opened we grew backlog of opened PRs by 5. So essentially our backlog keeps growing, as you can see, forever. But yeah, if you want to help in review, please join. There is bug bounty program. We would be glad to have someone who helping in reviewing the code. At some point, this code will land in upstream core boot, but yeah, first we have to do the downstream work. Yeah, I guess that's it. Then upstreaming, and this is a slide which I'm really proud of, because we have record-breaking quarter. We essentially upstreamed over 7,000 lines of code. This didn't happen ever, at least in the history that I measured, because before 2023 we also got the activity and we did the upstreaming effort, but I don't have data from that time, and to be honest, in context of existence of Dasharo, this doesn't make much sense. Essentially, this is 50% more than our previous record of almost 5,000 lines of code. This essentially improve our average quarterly upstreaming by 16% to 3,000 lines of code. So if someone will tell you that 3MDev does not upstream the code, you can essentially point them to the video with this presentation, and there are proofs that that's not true. We upstreaming the code. Of course, the backlog is still huge. Of course, like getting rid of this backlog is kind of very challenging. But at some point, we hope that we will gain enough margins so we can push that code. And of course, it would be accepted upstream, because that's also the case where sometimes upstream don't want to take all the changes, or the changes are not good enough for upstream. Yeah, I guess like one of the biggest problem is power. Yeah, where we have like, I don't know, 50,000 lines of code where we kind of sitting on our fork. There are also some people that picking our code from Dasharo which is not upstreamed, and they upstreaming themselves. Like that's for example, for some protected platforms for which doing releases is no longer kind of valuable market-wise, but still code is there, could be upstreamed. So if someone really complains that we don't upstream, yeah, code is there. You can also try to educate yourself in and try to upstream. Some people doing that. Okay, so what happened in this upstreaming? So who are our top upstreamers? So Michał Miczyk, our magician, is the top one. He upstreamed the support for Turin SoC. Of course, this is mostly a copy of the Genua POC, but then he started to fix that, adjust, and essentially make it work for Gigabyte MZ33AR1 motherboard, and also other stuff like dumping useful information for the AMD CPU, which are needed for making working port. He also started to do some stuff regarding the Phoenix because AMD at the end of Q3 released the OpenSeal for Phoenix, and that's also adding to our backlog certain targets like MSI B850. Then Sergey doing the first one, the IPMI is related, like first one, second one are related to the PowerPC, so Talos 2, our port. So Sergey is slowly kind of getting rid of some of the backlog, but it's a lot of time. And Philip also did some contribution, and most of the work of Philip and little bit of Sergey was around TopSwap, which we essentially want to resign from using the vboot in coreboot because of various reasons. We should there are some discussion with Chromium team about that, but I will not go into details of that. You can read the coreboot mailing list for that. And then we would like to switch to CBFS verification, which is different mechanism for verification and security of the components, or verification of the components, and kind of building chain of trust in some way in coreboot. But also we would like to have some redundancy, which TopSwap help us implement. Okay, some highlights from the documentation. There is new naming convention. I will talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, there is a page, and you can. Yeah, I guess someone poking Miczyk. That was intentional or not? Okay. Anyway, you raised your hand and you are muted. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, then the next one is HC report using an external firmware binary, which is extension to the Dasharo toolsuite. What's going on? Okay, I guess I have to mute that tab because it keeps distracting me. Okay, HCL report using external firmware binary. That's essentially because of some server boards, modern one, being unable to do the zero-touch deployment with the Dasharo toolsuite, or potential need for extraction of some information, which Dasharo toolsuite will support. So because of that, we essentially would like to provide a mechanism where you externally dump the firmware from the SPI flash, and then going into DTS, and in DTS you can parse this to extract some information. More details on the website how this can be used. Okay, verify Intel bootguard key. This is something that I would like to also talk at the end of my kind of segment on the roadmap. But the point here is that right now you can use a script which is in DTS to verify that the manifest of your BIOS and the keys fused matching, and that's the point of this feature. So for those who would like to read the code, how we're doing this, and then verify if their BIOS is correctly fused, then they can use this tool. Okay, we also created a new YouTube channel, 3M Applied, which with the goal of having kind of place for showcasing unpolished demos, some experiments, some stuff behind the scenes, essentially completely like not scientific like, or maybe not extensive deep dives, or very kind of maybe for someone even boring, too long rant about technology. But this one is more like in showcasing, in very practical demoing, and kind of being short, maybe even without too much talking, more showing. We will see how well this will go. Right now, one subscriber. We will see if after publishing some videos, this will change. Regarding statistics for EDK2 downstream, we have not so much activity. To be honest, this is significant slowdown. We are essentially slowing down quarter by quarter. This is our lowest quarter merge count in this repository. Typically, average tempo was 14 PRs per quarter, calculated from last 10 quarters. But this time we just hit it like 4 or something like that. So this is like very, very slow. But apparently we don't have need right now for making too much changes in the EDK2 downstream, Dasharo downstream. Stars keeps growing, so if you have GitHub account, feel free to go there, give us a star. It's way below what some cool projects have, but yeah, we understand that open source firmware is niche and maybe not everyone knows about our existence. Okay, regarding activity on Matrix, also slow down. Like last quarter was 2K comments, this time over 1K. But I'm very happy because we kind of hit a milestone with 500 users on Dasharo space on Matrix. That's really great. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who made it happen. And like I hope we will grow. Who knows? Maybe at some point we will overgrow other open source firmware communities. And I guess this is just a matter of deliverables and making releases, making something interesting. So if you have any ideas how we could improve that, please let us know. I know I'm a little bit behind the schedule, so I would like to talk about top contributors. If you are in the top contributors, please note that you are eligible to get unlimited access to the Dasharo Pro package. So whatever Dasharo Pro package binaries you want, contact us. Just send contact at dasharo.com and let us know that this is your email and you are that person from the community who's in the top contributors, and we would be glad to add you to all the Dasharo Pro packages which are right now. And then if you want to buy hardware, you will get 15% discount on hardware sold by 3M Dev, excluding dropshipping, because dropshipping is essentially on different margins and we cannot provide this kind of discount. Okay, that's what I said, so I don't think we have to discuss this one. Activity on channels, like as always, random channel is very active, support channel, laptops channel, of course, general is somewhere in between, but that's it. Bug bounty, you can just use this link or just select the label on the GitHub to get the bug bounty. We closed some. There are 8 closed one. There are 9 open. The activity is kind of moderate. We have a couple people, but not many deliver. It seems to be maybe hard, but we will try to help you. So if there is also any way that how we can help and improve this bug bounty process, help you on your way to deliver some and earn some bounty, then please let us know. There is also a video which Philip recorded some time ago, so maybe that's helpful. I saw that there is quite a lot of likes there, like quite a lot, like 15 or something, but it's already a lot for our videos, and I guess that's some people watching it and maybe considering taking the bug bounty. Okay, that's it for this segment.